welcome back to my channel. So today I have an Eve Lom review for you, finally. I know. Some of you have been asking for this for a while, so I'm sorry. I finally have it here for you. If you've been with me for a while, you do know I do like this foundation. And I demoed it today with her brush, which for me was the first time I tried it today. And in all honesty, it's a great brush, but for the price point, the Sigma one, the flat kabuki, is just as good. Here is the Sigma F80 flat top kabuki. So I lined the barrels up there. They're like, oh, here we go. They're exactly the same height. Honestly, they're pretty much the same brush. This one's clean, this one's dirty because I just used it. So this is a good brush, but this is half the price or maybe even a little less. So if you feel like splurging, she has a great brush, but I don't feel it's necessary. Now, this foundation is her Radiance foundation, and I am in the color 2 Ivory. Right off the bat, this foundation is not a matte finish foundation. It is a Radiance foundation, but not overly radiant. I would say it's just a satin finish with a little hint of dewiness in it. And it wears beautifully on the skin. Even though I'm extremely oily, it lasts all day. This is one of the only foundations that I've really found that is more on the luminous end that does hold up on oily skin. I think this foundation would be amazing for mature skin. It doesn't accentuate my fine lines or my pores. It smooths them out. When I wear it through the day, it kind of melts into my skin, which you guys will see when I do the check-ins after the demo. So I just popped on the Morel website here. That is where I did pick mine up, is at Morel. It's just kind of like a Sephora, a little bit smaller here in Canada. It is a part of Shoppers. So I'll leave that link down below. I don't know where you can get Eve Lom in the States, but I'm sure you guys would know. It comes in 15 different shades. And the description is that it perfects and illuminates with full weightless coverage and flawless matte finish. See, I don't find it to be that matte though. But pores, fine lines, imperfections are instantly minimized. I completely agree with that. Helps lift, firm, and repair for useful plumpness and elasticity. Long-lasting, deep down hydration, UVA, UVB, and antioxidant protection. Actively beneficial for all skin types. Now, I do agree with, I think this would be great for all skin types. I think it'd be beautiful on dry skin. It doesn't cling to any dry patches that I may ever have. And it just looks so good on the skin. I am in love with this foundation. It is at a higher price point, so definitely get a sample. If you can, if you know you're in an area where you can grab a sample before you buy it, just because it works for me, it might not work for you. But generally, if you might have the same skin type as me, I think you might like this foundation a lot. It does come with 1 fluid ounce, a standard amount for a foundation. I don't find that this foundation oxidizes either, which is great. So I'm going to stop rambling. If I didn't touch on anything that you may be wondering about, or if you have a question, leave them down below and I will try my best to be able to answer them for you. And let's get into the demo right now. So I'm going to use it with the Eve Lom brush. This actually says it's a powder foundation brush, but to me it looks like a liquid foundation brush. I mean, you could apply powder foundation, but I feel like a less dense, fluffy brush, you know, a powder brush would be more beneficial for powder foundation, or something that was more domed if it's going to be dense. This, to me, I feel like would work much better for a liquid foundation, and it really reminds me a lot of the Sigma flat top kabuki. So I just put 2 pumps on the back of my hand. That's probably gonna be more than enough. And I do have some blemishes on my skin, nothing crazy, but you know, some redness. I love this foundation. It just makes your skin look so pretty. It gives it a really pretty glow. You know, it's not matte. It is a Radiance foundation, but it lasts on me through the day. I'll show you guys, obviously, in my updates. I have to say though, for the brush, considering its price point, as of right now, I would just say stick to Sigma. This is a really nice brush, but I don't think it's doing anything the Sigma brush can't do. If you want to treat yourself, this is a nice one. So that is one layer right there. I would say it's about a medium coverage foundation on one layer. And I'm just gonna put a little bit more, just a tiny bit more on kind of where my forehead is right here to see how it can cover blemishes up. Those two. I just really love the way it sits on the skin and the way it lasts through the day. It just kind of melts into your face. And I'll show you guys that in my updates as well. And I would just rather spot conceal sometimes than have a really heavy duty coverage foundation that looks cakey, instead of making my skin look pretty and just treating the areas I need to treat. So I'm happy with that. It's pretty much just one layer, and there's still some redness peeking through, but I'm just going to conceal those. This is just the L'Oreal True Match Concealer, and then I will powder up so that you guys can see how powder lays over it. If you guys have tried her powders, let me know down below how you like them. I'm just going to blend that in, and then I will check back in with you once I'm done this. So for setting everything, I'm not going to use a powder foundation or any powder with the coverage. I'm just going to use a really light, loose face powder. This one's from the drugstore. It's just by Marcel, and it's just a translucent setting powder. So I just took a little bit of that translucent powder on this flower brush. This is what I was talking about in my January favorites, of just going in and setting that concealer first, so it doesn't move around when we dab it on and swirl it on with a brush. Just so I know that concealer is set in place. And I'm just going to go in with my Real Techniques powder brush and set the foundation. So any translucent powder will do. I'm just using loose because it's going to give you a little bit more of a lighter coverage and finish, so you can really see what this foundation is like. This is pretty much just a setting powder, so again, it's not going to give me any additional coverage or help. Maybe a little bit with oil control because it is a powder still, but I mean nothing substantial. That's not what it's designed for. So the time right now is 3:05, and I will check in with you guys very soon. Hey guys, welcome back. So the time is 10:08. So I've had this foundation on for just about exactly 7 hours. I will take my glasses off in a sec. I know there's quite the reflection from the ring light, but I just want to look at it up close. So not even around my nose or anything is it breaking up. Nothing at all. So you can see, obviously, I am oily. But my pores still look great. My fine lines, nothing has settled into them. And it just looks like it melts into your skin. It's not breaking up anywhere. Now keep in mind, I have extremely, extremely oily skin. Most of you guys already know that. But I'm talking 2 hours into my day, depending on the foundation, I need to blot, repowder. It can be really bad, especially in the summertime. I haven't touched up, I haven't powdered. When you guys see me apply my makeup, that's the last time I touched it. So it wears just so pretty. I knew it would, but I just wanted to show you guys because you guys were asking for a review of it. You know when you take a baby wipe and you just like wipe off your face, like your foundation, at the end of the day, your pores suddenly like appear smaller because like wearing it through the day just starts to like emphasize your pores and it starts to break up and settle all funky. This foundation doesn't do that. Like I am oily in the T-zone. Like I get oily everywhere. I'm not someone that just gets oily in the T-zone. I get oily all over my face, my cheeks, my nose, everywhere. Like I have some oil on the cheeks. The oil is really coming through around my nose here. And it hasn't broken up at all. And my forehead has, like, everywhere is just oily, but it's not bad for having this foundation on my face for 7 hours, not touching up, not using a primer for oil control or a powder for oil control or a setting spray for oil control. So I am just really impressed with this foundation. Again, I think this foundation would be good for any skin type and any age. Young, honestly, from teenager, I don't think it's necessary that a teenager wear a foundation like this, but just saying that from young to mature skin, I think this foundation would be beautiful. Man, every time I look at this foundation, I just am so impressed with it. If my face kind of looks funny, it's because I'm not wearing any blush. I did a review video on the Too Faced Cocoa Powder Contour Kit, so that will be up already before you see this. I'm just gonna blot and show you what it looks like all blotted out. It doesn't lift like the foundation. I mean, a little color will come off, but you know like how there's some foundations when you blot it seriously lifts right off your skin and there's nothing left on your skin. Some foundations just come right off with the blotting sheet. This one blots beautifully. So here's this foundation after 7 hours of wear, blotting one time. You will see some wear around here because my glasses were sitting on there, so that's bound to happen, and maybe a little bit on my cheeks because they rest on my cheeks, or I always push them up on my cheeks. But I just really like this foundation, guys. I hope this review was helpful for you guys. I know there was a few of you wanting to know a little bit more about this foundation, and let me know if you have any questions. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys.